But yeah, so I am Robbie. I go by R.D. Pyers. This is my series, The Types That Rain, right here. I write in the mainly the fantasy genre. Sometimes I venture outside. All of it is generally queer. And these are all self-published. And
that's perfect. That's awesome. Hi, I'm Rebecca Robinson. That's my name. And this is my debut novel. This released in November of 2024. And it's The Serpent and the Wolf, the second book. The Wicked and the Damned just came out this past February, and the third book is due next summer. So we're getting there, and that'll be the end of this trilogy. But this is my debut series. It's published with Simon & Schuster, Saga Press, and I primarily, at this point, like romantasy, more fantasy than romance. I will say I tend to. Romantasy is such like a reader-defined genre that it's so important to me sometimes to mention that it really is more like romantic fantasy. Fantasy being the heavier sort of plot line in the books than the romances, but I still think it has what people need. Yeah, I'm just excited to chat with you guys. Thank you guys for coming. I love small and intimate events. I think it's a lot of fun, and I'm really, really excited to celebrate Robbie's release. Particularly, it's been such a journey. Yeah. So I'm so excited that these books are out in the world. So.
I love that you couldn't remember when your book was published, because mine, I can very accurately remember when my book was published because it came out a week after Sydney was born. So like it was literally just like she was born and I was in the throes of release. I was like feeding and like, oh, I gotta post something on social media.
No, I can't even imagine. I think I'll have a nightmare about that.
Yeah, and the thing was, so originally the first two books were released by a small publisher, and they knew her due date was a week before, and like they knew maybe 6 months before the book came out, and I was like, hey, can we push this back? And they're like, no, this is our summer release, you have to do this. And so it was just like, that should have been red flag. Yeah, it was so, I did both.
That sucks, I'm so sorry. No.
But you also had a release this year with The Wicked and the Damned.
Yep. That happened. It did.
And speaking to people who have read the series and are excited for the second book, how do you feel that like the release of the second one and the way readers have reacted to it has differed from the first book? And
I think it's been wonderful. The first book release season was really hard for me just because it was like taking this thing that mattered so much to me and like putting it out into the world, right? And then of course I made like the totally foolish mistake of engaging all the time and like reader reviews and what's happening, and I thought like, oh, I can totally handle this. What do you mean I work with high schoolers? Nothing could be more brutal, right? Turns out things can be more brutal. So on the second one, I will say I actually don't really know how readers are reacting to it, and I'm very happy about that. When I was following the reader reactions to this one, I had a hard time writing this one because I was stuck in a space of reading reviews from people who like were on Goodreads. I'm like, what am I doing here? Like, I don't belong here. This is not I know I don't belong here, right? Like, this is not for me. And then I kept thinking, are they gonna like this? Are they gonna like that? And I sort of lost the art of it. I don't know if you've ever experienced that, but just this feeling of like, I feel like I'm writing for other people. So on this one, I have completely ignored it because I wanted to write the third book in a better headspace, and I think I did. But I will say that as much as people talk about like reviewers being kind of harsh and like wanting to not read your reviews, it's 99% wonderful. Like Bookstagram people are wonderful to me. They're so kind, and readers, all in all, on both books, all I've seen is good. After I cut out the bad, and the bad is going to happen. It's part of our career. But yeah, it's been a lot of fun. It's interesting. The second book in a series, people are either like thrilled or they're kind of like, wait, I don't have the exact same feeling I had when I read the first one, and now I'm happy. And both are valid, but yeah.
That's so interesting because I feel like some of my other friends are like, oh, the second book is better because the only people who are returning are the people who like the first book. But like, you're right, like there's such a like, I want the same exact thing as the first book, but not. Right?
Yeah.
And book 2 is so different from like book 1, which is.
I like it better.
Yeah.
I like it better. Like, I don't know. I'm so proud of it too. I
Are
wrote
you allowed
this.
to say that you have a favorite in your series?
I think I am, yeah. Yes, because I feel like I leveled up. Like because here's the thing, it's like how often in your life do you get like an editor who's going to like look at your stuff so deeply and specifically and help you. And the thing about the editing process, and I know you can attest to this, it's when somebody gives you feedback, right, you think, oh, I'm not gonna make that mistake again. Because you've learned, like it's a learning process. And so there was a lot of learning that went into editing this book that helped to write this book. Because when I first wrote and pitched this book to agents and then eventually publishers, there was no guarantee that this book would even get to exist ever. And so this book has a totally different ending than it did when I pitched it. Because I had to sell a standalone. I had to sell a standalone with series potential. It's the only way to get published with a traditional publisher nowadays. Most won't purchase a series, especially not from a debut author. And so when Saga purchased a series, I was A, floored. And B, I was like, oh crap, I got right. So, but I don't know, I like it better because there's more. I actually got to do the depth that I wanted.
Yeah, mine was kind of the opposite, where the publisher knew that it was going to be a 4-book series. And I think it was good because I had already written the first 3 books. So like when you talk about like, seeing the reader reaction to the first book and then being like, I have to meet that. I'm so glad that I had the first 3 books written because I was like, it doesn't matter if they like it or not because the next 2 are already like done. So like, I don't know, if you don't want it, like don't keep reading. But that did come into some issues when the publisher did want to make like changes to the end of the first book. And I was like, well, do you want me to like have to change the next 2 books? And luckily, nothing they changed like actually changed the series as a whole, which I was appreciative of in some ways.
Okay, so you had the first 3 books written.
Yes.
Right, but now you're finishing up a 4th.
Yes.
Okay. Now are you getting the reader review paralysis? Does it happen?
I will say that, yeah, it happened.
Did it happen?
It is happening, and it is
Ignore
continuing
it.
to happen. I know. Well, there were some changes because I think, and you've probably experienced this too, there's like a core, as a romantic fantasy series, there is a core relationship that people want to see have a happy ending.
Sure.
And that might not necessarily have been in what you were planning for the series. So I will say in that instance, like the central series, the central relationship, I will say, is what has been affected the most by reader feedback, and just realizing that there is a story that I want to tell as the author in terms of artistic integrity, but there's also like not wanting to upset readers for the sake of upsetting readers just because you want a certain theme to come across, right?
Yes.
So I think that is the way that the series has been influenced the most by having readers. And for, I'd say 90% of the outline that I originally had for the entire series has stayed the same. But yeah.
That's impressive.
And I think some of that comes from self-publishing though too. Because it was the first 2 books were under a publisher, and then they have since dissolved. So 3 and 4 are under me self-publishing. And I think that has given me a lot more creative freedom in terms of where the series goes. So that's where definitely our different journeys within a series have diverged.
Yeah, I would say I'm lucky enough, my publisher they never told me what I couldn't, you know what I mean? Like they've had feedback, but most of it has been like, keep going, you know what I mean? In the best way, right?
Even when you want them to tear it to shreds.
Yes. Yeah. I'm like, tear it apart, and she's like, it doesn't need to be torn apart. Like, it's actually good, and I'm like, liar.
So that never goes away.
It does not. I think I could have sold 1 million copies, and I would still be like, am I bad at this? Like, very normal. The imposter syndrome never ends. But that's really, really.
So, for those who have not read The Wicked and the Damned, there is a very big tonal shift between The Serpent and the Wolf and the second book. What excited you most about expanding this world, getting to dive deeper into all of the politics, all of the magic?
Yeah. So, okay, the writing process for this book, like I told you guys, was totally unconventional because I originally was contracted for a duology. And so I wrote the second book. It was supposed to be the conclusion of the series. I kind of concluded it. And then I sent it to my publisher, and the first half was this like dark, gritty sort of exploration of like what does it feel like when you go back into a place that harmed you, and like what does it look like to revisit triggers, right? This whole book is about like what does it feel like to have a community that helps you to heal and shows you that you're worth loving, and all of those things, right? That's the undercurrent. And then this one was like, and what if everyone around you hated you again? What would you do, right? And so the first half of the book was like that, right? And then the second half was like, and now let's wrap up all of this stuff really, really quickly. And it was suffering what I like to call it the duology effect for my writing in particular, which is that sometimes when I realized I could expand this series, I made it too big. It went too far. And so I handed it to my agent and I was like, hey, here's a big pile of garbage. Thank you so much. And I'll talk to you in like a month. And she was like, okay. And it's so funny because I always tell my student, I taught English for years, and I told my students, never hand me an essay and preface it with, I know this is bad, but, right? It was like my number one piece of advice, because I would say, how can you know it's bad? You don't know that yet. Don't tell me what to expect. That's low-key offensive. Let me decide, you know? I was trying to hype them up, and then I could not take that on advice. But my agent got back to me, like, actually really quickly, and said, you know, hey, by the way, not a pile of trash. So much potential here. I loved so many elements of this. That being said, this needs to be 3 books. And I was like, yeah. Yeah, it needs to be a trilogy. It's not a duology. And so we went back to the publisher, and they were on board. They jumped on board immediately. It was actually kind of spectacular. I can't believe this book hadn't even released yet. I had 0 sales to my name, and this publisher said, "Is this what you believe is best for the story?" And the answer for me was yes. And they're really supportive of that. So they jumped on board, and then I had about 6 weeks to rewrite the entire second book to be what I wanted it to be, if we were going to make our publishing deadline. We then had to push the pub date. So there was a little bit of that going on. And so in writing the second book and getting to do that tonal change, it was so exciting for me to actually get to parse these things apart. There were characters that I got to dive into. There were characters who in the first draft of this were so flat and didn't really exist for me quite yet, because there wasn't enough room to, right? The second book had all of these plot points with none of the emotional depth. And I knew it and I felt it, because I felt like there was emotional depth in this one, and I knew what that feeling was, and I wasn't getting it with this. And then I got to go back and I got to do it. And for me, the writing process, I don't know, you can tell me all about yours because I want to know. But for me, I write an outline and I know where everything is going. And then I start. And then it just like, like the whole story goes in a different direction. I'm like, I wish I was a plotter, but there's definitely an element of discovery writing that was happening. And so as I was discovering so much about this story and I finally had room to discover, it took me in places I didn't know it was going to go. And that was such a fun opportunity. And it was really cool to go from the like hopeful tone to the world can be really, really dark. And it can be really hard to face the things that hurt you. But with the right people and keeping your eye on the right people and the right things in your life and the right feelings that people can offer you, and learning to tell the difference, right? You can't escape it. And so I'm not gonna give any spoilers, but it was really fun to go in that direction. Do you write like that? Do you write discovery, or do you like, are you like a to the plot, like you know it too?
It like depends on the thing that I'm writing. So like I like to call myself a plantster. Yep. There's plotters and then there's pantsers. So plotters who write out an entire outline, and then pantsers who just fly by the seat of their pants. They just write the story as it comes to them. So like when I write normal books, or not normal books, things that are not in this series, I usually like write the book just to the halfway point, just nothing, whatever is happening. And then I'm like, okay, I have to wrap this up. So like here,
I love it's always the halfway point that makes you go, oh, this was going somewhere.
Wait a minute, I did all these things. They all have to conclude. So then I have to bring them. I write an outline for the second half. Whereas with the series, I was like, there is no way. If I'm going to write this series, I'm going to drive myself insane if I try to do it from start to finish without like an outline. Okay. So the entire thing was outlined before I even started the first book. It has changed a lot I'd say. The first two, I feel like nothing really changed in the first two books because there's so much setup going on there and there's so much world building that's in those two. But especially in the third book and the fourth book, concluding things, I feel like you get such a different understanding of the characters that you didn't have when you were making the outline. That like you get to a certain point where they're supposed to do something and you're like, they wouldn't do that. And like, like not with how much growth they've had, like they wouldn't do that. And so you either have to completely change the trajectory of their portion of the story or find another way for that to fit in. And I think, like I said, for the most part, I think 85 to 90%, it's getting lower, of the outline has stayed the same from start to finish. Well, but that's across all 4 books, right? Like, I did have to completely rewrite the second half of the 4th book. And that was mainly because like I got to that point and I was like, these characters are completely different than who they were supposed to be. They wouldn't do this anymore, so I have to change it. I don't even know where I was going with this. But
I hear you.
But
that's how my outlines go.
I got it. I thought, gotta wrap this up. Yes. But yeah, that was the experience, at least with the 4 books being very different from how I normally write standalone series. And the other thing that happened here too was that these were originally supposed to be 3 books. Again, I wrote the first book, started writing the second one. As you can see, these wouldn't have made a very thick book. And I was like, there's no way, no one wants to read 1,300 pages of me, just like straight up. So I have to find a place to split this.
Like, can a book be bound with that?
I think there's a limit.
I think there's a limit. I think you might have reached it.
So spiritually, it's a trilogy. In some ways, though, like having to tighten my book might have been more, I don't know, a different experience with the world.
Yeah.
Because like immediately as you're talking about how you had to split the book into 2 and there was so much that you wanted to do, that I'm like, well, are you going to do spin-off? Because you have so much world there. You know? There's my answer. You would.
Yeah, no, I can confidently say that won't be happening. No, I'm ready to be like I'm obsessed with this series. I love it so much. What a beautiful series to have debuted with. I'm so proud of it. And the chapter is closing. It has to. Yes.
What about the Robinson Literary Universe?
The Robinson Literary Universe continues. Is that a thing? It's a thing now. It's a thing if you make it a thing. That is still expanding, expanding, ever growing. But this one, once the 3rd book is out in the world.
And you know what? That's probably the healthy way to think of it.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, also, I think that one of the best parts about reading a book is knowing that it's going to end.
Yeah.
Even though that's like the worst part about reading a book, right? But I'm also a really big fan of end something when it's good. Mm-hmm. Don't drag something out for no reason. So I think there's some stories I could tell. There's a novella that could be written. But that would be like a prequel. And there are pieces of that in book 3. Like that's how when I like split this, I had to go in that direction.
Yeah.
There was one particular character whose head I had to get into, and I had to tell this story about what happened to this person to make them the way that they are. The enemy of this series to me is actually my favorite.
He's so good.
I love him.
Good.
I hate him and I love him and I feel him and all of those things, and so I had to write what his life was like and how he got exactly where he's at right now. And when I did that, then I was like, oh God, now that the reader has to know this information. Understand, I played myself. And so I started sprinkling bits of that into this one. I got a couple chapters into this one, and then there's a few to look forward to.
But you heard it here. Get everyone to buy the series so that she has to write it.
Lord have mercy.
Yeah. Because we do need more. Ozek.
Yes. I feel like everyone finished this. Okay.
Cool.
Okay. I really want to write Ozek and Benna's story. You know what I mean? Like I want to write the story of the affair. I feel like that is so.
You said it.
That would be a perfect right.
Yeah.
Ozek and Benna's story, but I just don't see it happening, and that's such a bummer with the world of publishing sometimes. But that's okay because I know it.
Maybe in 15 years, you know.
I really so close.
done it.
There you go.
Yeah.
There you go. There you go. Maybe I'll just put like 1,000 words at a time in a newsletter. No, that's probably suable too. No, we're good. We're good. Yeah, that's gonna happen. No, it would be wonderful. But I mean, hey, never say never, right? Like the world could be what whoever knows what the world looks like tomorrow, let alone what it looks like in a year or two. So.
Oh my gosh. I admire you so much for that restraint because as I was getting like halfway through the series, I was like, well, I have these stories that I need to tell, obviously, and I need to write the spin-off now, and I've since like calmed that down. So I was like, so you need to like tell the story that readers actually want, even if you want that story. And it sounds like, I want that story.
Thank you.
I will also read whatever, anything you write. So
thank you. I think that's the thing about publishing, right? Like it's constantly a balance between this is artwork that I'm creating and then this is a product that I'm selling, and you've got to have that balance between the two of them. And I mean, I think a novella would do perfectly well, but I also think that time and place now is not either place.
Going on, since we're on those,
I
just want to like dive in. Gray characters, morally gray characters. I like hate writing morally gray characters, even though I love writing morally gray characters.
Okay.
Because I find myself in this weird dichotomy of like, I like them, so I don't want them to do anything too awful. But like, they're also like a bad character, so that sometimes they have to do awful things. And I'm like, but they're my baby.
Yeah.
Yeah, like do you have that struggle with writing a morally gray character? Like you said,
Yes.
Yes.
There's always so I'm not gonna say any spoilers. There are some actions, some things that occur that are morally questionable. And they have to be, right? And so I think I don't think I'm capable of writing a morally not gray. The opposite of gray. I don't think I'm capable of writing a character that isn't a little bit bad. I mean, even Vasa she's not straightforward, and she is also morally gray, and she continues to be morally gray. She will be morally gray until the end. That's something I can guarantee you. I love my girl. I do. But with Ozic, I thought I was writing like a flat character. Like I thought it was like, yeah, he's evil, he's power hungry, duh. Like, and to a certain degree, that's enough, right? Like we look around the world that we live in now. Grade's enough. It's enough. Yeah, that's enough to make somebody how they are. But I got in his head. I don't know what it was. I got in his head, and then once I was in his head, I'm like, but does he have to be so evil? So I think that's actually where it comes from. It's like I actually think it's like this like weird thing. It's not that I like don't want to make them do bad things. It's that I don't actually care if they do really bad things. I think to myself, but don't they have a good reason for doing it? You know what I mean? And that's what drags me backwards. And that's what drove me backwards with Ozic. But I also just really enjoyed writing the morally gray part of it. I balance line all the time, especially I think funny enough with Vasa more than with Ozic. Like when Ozic does something terrible, I'm like, a man. Right? Like when Vasa does something terrible, I'm like, oh no, everyone's gonna hate her. Which is, I mean, that's completely valid. Like, the female characters can't do anything right in the literary world. I wholeheartedly believe that. I think that no matter what, you're always going to have a 5-star review about the same exact moment. That is, we love that she did this, and a 1-star. That's like, how dare she? And they will always be 50-50. Well, it's going to be a 3.5, no matter which way you look at it. And so, it's, I don't think I'm capable of writing a character that isn't somewhat.
And that makes them feel fleshed out.
Right, they need that to be a little bit more rounded out. But yeah, I enjoyed it, and I do walk the line all the time. Sometimes, like there was even like when drafting the third book, I kind of had to pull it back. I had to be like, well, that's probably a little too far. Let's go ahead and edit that out.
We need the readers to like them.
And then I like lovingly put it into this little folder on my computer called Bits. I don't know why I started calling it Bits. I think it started as Bits and Pieces, and then I ended up, as we do, just sort of shortening it. And so I'm just like putting those little scenes into the bits folder. And one day the bits folder will see the light of day. It will go out in a completely unhinged newsletter or something, right? And people are gonna be like, she did what? And I'm gonna be like, Dear Wasabi B. And all of a sudden, Kendra's gonna be like, you want me to send out what? And I'm gonna be like, full send. And it'll be great. And we'll see someday.
I had that there's a character in here who's an assassin, but she's like a reformed assassin.
Yes.
Right? So, and I love her. She's my favorite character. So,
Reformed assassin.
yeah.
Right? Like, oh, you were so evil, but were you?
Exactly. That's
Yes.
So like the theme of this book is atonement, right? And so there's so many parts in the book where I'm like, she's so sympathetic. She's such a good character, and then like she has killed a couple hundred people. How does that factor in where she is now?
Is anyone ever gonna let that go?
Like, but she's sorry.
Girls being girls.
Yeah.
Like, God forbid she has hobbies.
Exactly. Oh my god. Yeah. So.
Okay, my turn.
Okay.
Okay. What's one? I had that effect on you.
If only we brought that bottle of something.
So what's one way? This is actually a very good question for what we're talking about right now. Which is, what's one way in which your characters have surprised you in this series? Is it the morally gray ones, or is it the other characters that have surprised you? Who surprised you?
I think the morally gray ones. Yeah. I think the biggest change that came from this series. There's a character that starts in this book, and she starts out really small, and she like slowly becomes a bigger character as the series goes on.
So fun how they do that.
Yeah, I love that. Yeah, and so at the end of this one, she has a quintessential moment at the end of the third book where she kind of flips power on its head, and she kind of gains the upper hand in the queendom that she is part of. And so at the end, she was the reason that the entire back half of the last one changed, because I had her doing something. Again, spoilers. It's so hard to talk about.
Right. She was doing something.
She was doing something that she had always meant to be doing. And then I got there and I was like, you know what? That completely undermines her character. She has had so much growth. She has been fighting for it throughout the series. She has been fighting for her voice to be heard. I was like, well, if she just gives in like this for the final act, then that's not her. Like, why did she go through all of this stuff? And so I think that was the biggest surprise, where I was like, I can't do that to her. Like, you know, like she has grown so much as a person. She's gained so much power. She has gained so much like strength. I can't do that to her, and I had to change it. So that was
that's awareness.
That's
awareness. We're awareness.
And also just like on a personal level, and like as I didn't think readers would believe it either. I think I fully felt they would get there and they'd be like, what was the point of all this then? You know, like, why did we have this journey? Why did she gain the seat of power if she was just gonna betray all the people who supported her up until this point?
Good. Do not give us an ending like Game of Thrones, please.
Yeah, exactly.
Thank you.
And which is funny that you mentioned that, because that was how I started writing the story.
Was it really?
The story, because I had all these ideas for this, and I had like a story that was floating around, and then we got to season 8 of Game of Thrones, and it ended, and I was like, one, I hate this.
Yeah, I was there.
And two, but how can I complain if I'm not willing to write my own series and stick to my guns?
Okay. I love a lesson to learn.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I took the pain of poor Daenerys Targaryen. And it's like, I
spoiler alert if you haven't finished it.
I will not do that.
Yeah.
And I think I haven't. So
I've hit most of mine.
I do want to know though.
Yes.
If there was a moment, an aha moment, where you were like, I'm writing The Serpent and the Wolf, which was not the original title, but
it was not the original. Yes. Absolutely. So this book, yes, I was actually I just finished a completely different manuscript. I knew traditional publishing was the path that I wanted to go down, because I firmly believe that traditional publishing and self-publishing are two different job descriptions. They are equally important, equally as valid, but different. And the self-publishing one is not a job description that I want. I don't like social media. I don't like advertising. I don't think you can be a self-published author without doing those things. I don't like selling myself. I'm not good at it. I'm an educator. So really wasn't for me. But I knew I loved telling stories. And that was the direction that I wanted to go. So I was chasing this dream for a long time and writing different manuscripts. And I never really queried any until I got here. I sent out 5 queries on a manuscript. All 5 came back as rejections, and I was like, well, that's never happening again. Like, I couldn't handle it. And so it didn't occur to me until later that 5 was a very small number. But
I don't even want to tell you.
there were more than 5. More than 5 on this one, let me tell you. But by that point, I had thicker skin. But I had finished another book, and I was compiling a list of agents. I'm like, okay, this is it. We're gonna do it. And then something in my life changed, and the world around me changed, and I had a lot of feelings, and I had a lot of things to process. And so I started writing, and I started writing a different book, this book, and I was never going to publish it. I was never going to take it anywhere. And then I got to about that 20,000 word mark, which is the mark that most authors will tell you. This is the moment you either look at a story and you say, this is real, I'm writing the rest of it, or that was fun, and you put it away.
Which is about like 80 pages, printed pages.
Yes, about 80 printed pages. You get like essentially like through the first act, and then you decide that you're going forward or not. And I was going forward. There was no stopping me. And I thought to myself, if there was ever a book that was gonna do it, it was this one. And I was right. And I definitely had an aha moment. It was with Bassa. She was in exercise in writing a character that had the same feelings that I did, and had that like that anger and like that self-hatred at that time. And then I loved her so much. And so I thought, like, okay, if I can love her, like, why can't I love me? That's gotta happen. And that's what made me believe in this story. And every rejection that came in after that, I thought, that's just business, baby. And I kept moving because you couldn't shake me on that set. People still can't. They can't shake me anymore on this character. I love her so much. So that was my
Yeah, sure.
Do you guys have questions for us?
Sorry, we just put you on the spot.
Sorry. Okay, transition warning. Keep it at 30 seconds.
I will just echo, I think that statement of if I can love Vasa, I can love me is literally the reaction that I think a lot of us as readers have had. So.
Thank you, I really appreciate it.
What are you reading right now?
Okay, we were talking about this a little bit.
Yeah.
I can't ever remember if I'm reading anything. Whenever people ask me, like, what are your favorite books?
Which is
Every
such
single
a great
book
endorsement for the book that you're reading.
No, I know, but no, it's really good. It's just that, like, every single time that someone asks me what my favorite book is, every single book I've ever read leaves my head. I could not tell you. That's okay. I'm reading The Night We Met by Abby Jimenez right now. I was telling them I need like a romance, like I need to be out of the fantasy world for a hot minute. In order to sort of focus on a different project that I'm working on. But in the fantasy world, I am deep into Demi Winter's series right now, The Road Bones, that whole series. And it's excellent. I could not recommend it enough. And I am very much looking forward to Stacey McEwen's new release, which is coming in July. And the first book is A Forbidden Alchemy, and the second one is A Forsaken Prophecy. I already have Forsaken Prophecy. Shared publisher. And holy crap, like Stacey just does it every single time. I never read a book by her I didn't love. So those are my currents, kind of bouncing back and forth, but huge fan. What do you do?
I love that you said you had to take a break, because I also had to take a break from fantasy, and I was trying to read all of the big ones that you see on Bookstagram. I was like, I need to have read all of these series. And then at the beginning of this year, I was like, I never want to see a fantasy book again. I spent the first like 4 or 5 months reading other things. But right now, I am listening to Lightbringer, which is on the shelf right there, the 6th book in the Pierce Brown's Red Rising series, which was actually, oddly enough, a surprise to me. I thought I had read all of them. And then when I was coming out of my no fantasy, no sci-fi slump, I was like, wait a minute, I have a whole nother book in this series. And so
Light dawns. Fantasy
great.
calls
I was like,
you
wow,
back every time.
I still have another one. So yeah, that one, and then I am Arc reading a book by a friend called Stone Blood, which oddly enough, Bloodstone. I told him I was having an event here, and he was like, "Do I have to travel to California?" I was like, "I think you have to. It was meant to be. It's in the stars," which is an epic fantasy set in a world populated by gargoyles. Oddly enough, I had never read a book like that before.
Oh, I'm kind of into it though.
Yeah, it definitely changes like the world building because they can fly. So like, why does anything have to be on the ground? So that was my favorite part of delving into it. I was like, this is amazing.
Okay, I'm like getting bits of the gargoyle from Night Moth, and I'm trying to like parse them apart in my head right now. Yes. Okay. Amazing.
Yeah.
Okay. That's a good question.
I love that you made like an author face when you thought about the thing that you
Yeah, I know. I was like, wait a minute, have you seen it? I called dibs on reading it first.
No, I did. I was like, huh. Thank you.
Jot
Thank you.
this down.
Yeah, right, hold on.